The Housing Society is dropping new dedicated elderly blocks and will instead weave senior-friendly designs into all future rental and subsidized sale flats. The Hospital Authority plans to fast-track more new medicines straight into its special drug list. And we'll take a look at one of the city's most celebrated Tin Hau Festival procession in Yuen Long. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Cheryl Yun. With the fourth Lease for Life project for middle-income elderly people rolling out in the second half of the year, the Hong Kong Housing Society will put a pause to building new flats for the elderly scheme in the next 10 years, shifting its focus to incorporating elderly-friendly features into all future developments instead. Evelyn Bai reports.
Taking to the airwaves, Housing Society Chairman Ling Kar-Ken said the fourth project of the Senior Citizen Residences Scheme in Fanling will offer 261 flats and a residential care home with around 50 beds in the latter half of the year. The scheme, launched about 27 years ago, has so far provided 880 units across 3 projects. Ling said there will be no standalone elderly housing blocks under the scheme over the next decade, as the scheme cannot build millions of units to address the root problem of senior housing. Instead, every new unit across its projects will bake in age-friendly designs, such as larger elevator buttons and bathroom bifold doors to accommodate wheelchairs. Meanwhile, 2 redevelopment projects, Minghua Daiha in Shao Kei Wan and Kwun Tong Garden Estate 2, originally expected to deliver 800 Lease for Life units, will also be redesigned without that component, Ling said. There are currently around 300 applicants on the scheme's waiting list. Separately, the city's second-largest public housing provider said its 3 subsidized sale flats projects received overwhelming response, with large-sized units selling out quickly. Since implementing the well-off tenants policy last September, the Society has issued over 9,000 of 20,000 new tenancy agreements, with the remainder to be issued by the end of this year. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
The Hospital Authority has added 11 new drugs to its formulary under the public health care fee reform, with 8 receiving substantial government subsidies. Its long-term goal is to convert more self-financed drugs into special drugs, easing the financial burden on patients. Jeremy Zhu has more.
The formulary classifies drugs into 4 categories: general drugs, special drugs, self-financed items, and SFIs without safety net coverage. One notable case is the recently added leukemia drug, dasatinib. Annual costs have dropped from $500,000 to just $240 after it was reclassified as a special drug. Around 400 patients are expected to benefit, with the government shouldering an additional $50 million a year. Taking to the airwaves, Hospital Authority Chief Pharmacist William Choi explained that drugs meeting safety, efficacy, and cost-effectiveness standards are now directly listed as special drugs to accelerate patient access. Expert panels will continue to review clinical data and cost-effectiveness, he added, to determine further conversions. He stressed that the authority already subsidizes 95% of patients' drug bills, promoting co-payment to help fast-track new medicines. Addressing concerns that higher fees might push patients to forego treatment, Chief Manager on Allied Health Priscilla Poon reassured that no patient will be denied appropriate care for lack of money, urging patients not to worry. She added that a fee waiver mechanism is in place, with 240,000 applications received and 220,000 approved by the end of March. Among these, 84% of applicants who submitted income and asset proof got full or partial waivers on the same day. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Large crowds gathered in Yuen Long on Tin Hau Festival today to witness the grand parade celebrating the birthday of the Empress of Heaven. Jeremy Zhu shares more.
More than 30 parade troops for the Shapahern, or 18 villages, set off from Fengcheng Road, bringing drums and dragon dances into the bustling streets of Yuen Long. Spectators lined the route, snapping photos and touching the dragon's head for a little extra luck.
It's great. The dragons are really so beautiful, and it's really nice for the goddess of the sea, the birthday of Tin Hau. I think that's the only thing I know.
Leading the procession was a giant paper floral tribute, commonly known as fa pao in Chinese, requiring villagers to carry it together. For the fourth consecutive year, locals from this Hakka village drew the lead position. The village chief said this year's two dragons were especially striking, and the event symbolized wishes for health, academic success, and prosperity in business. The founder of one of the participating Dragon and Lion Dance Society noted that despite earlier rain, the skies cleared, making the day perfect for celebration. Their display, which took more than 6 months to prepare, included lanterns of fortune and blessings, and 8 colorful lions, each representing vibrancy in Hong Kong. Home and Youth Affairs Secretary Alice Mak and Heung Cook Chairman Kenneth Lau officiated at the cannon firing ceremony. The parade concluded at Tai Shu Ha Tin Hau Temple, where troops paid tribute before the Fa Pao draw determined next year's order of appearance. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
With Mother's Day coming up tomorrow, the flower market in Mong Kok is bracing for its peak season, although some florists are choosing not to raise bouquet prices, even as their cost has climbed by 10%. Meanwhile, the dining sector expects a drop in business. Evelyn Bai tells us more.
Florists at the market have laid out a sea of colorful carnation bouquets, a traditional symbol of a mother's eternal love. One vendor noted that bouquet prices remain almost unchanged from previous years, despite a 10% rise in transport costs. If customers see raising prices, they may turn to other shops, so we have no choice but to keep them steady, he said. A medium-sized bouquet goes for under $500. However, he expressed optimism that foot traffic will rise 10% year-on-year, as more Hong Kongers choose to spend locally, hoping increased business could level off the surge in costs. Meanwhile, at this Mong Kok restaurant, only about 30% of tables were booked for Mother's Day. Including walk-ins, they expect to serve only 80 tables, 20 to 30 fewer than last year, with smaller parties at each table. The restaurant deputy manager blamed the low business on people heading north to spend, overseas travel, and the city's low birth rate. We used to do 5 times our normal weekend business on Mother's Day. In recent years, it was only around double, he added. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Russia marked the 81st anniversary of its Victory Day with a pared-back Red Square parade that, for the first time in nearly 2 decades, featured no heavy weaponry. Army Chief Andrei Mordvichev led units across the square, including drone warfare teams and some 1,000 North Korean soldiers who fought alongside Russian troops against Ukraine in the Kursk region. Meanwhile, tanks and missiles were replaced by pre-recorded footage of military hardware. Before the march past, President Vladimir Putin hailed Russian troops fighting a special military operation against NATO-backed forces, declaring that Russians would endure any hardship, overcome all challenges, and that victory has always belonged to Russia. Separately, United States President Donald Trump announced that Russia and Ukraine had agreed at his request to an immediate 3-day ceasefire, including a swap of 1,000 prisoners of war on each side. In a major shift in the United Kingdom's political landscape, Reform UK has emerged as the clear winner of the English local elections, while Labour suffered heavy losses, including a historic defeat in Wales. Prime Minister Keir Starmer insisted he will not resign, despite mounting pressure from within his own party. With Labour heavily punished at the ballot box, pressure mounted on Starmer after several Labour members of Parliament called for him to step down. The Prime Minister took responsibility for the very tough results but vowed to carry on as leader.
Well, they've sent a message that the change that we promised isn't being delivered in a way they can feel, and also, frankly, they're fed up with years of the status quo. But we were elected to deal with those challenges, and I'm not going to walk away from that and to plunge the country into chaos.
Labour lost more than 1,300 seats and control of multiple councils across England. The results mark a dramatic reversal from the party's decisive national victory less than 2 years ago. In its most severe setback, Labour lost power in Wales after 27 years of rule. Plaid Cymru became the largest party in a 96-seat Senate with 43 seats, while Labour was pushed into third place. Meanwhile, hard right Reform UK soared to more than 1,400 seats and took control of several councils in long-standing Labour and Tory strongholds. Party leader Nigel Farage hailed the results as a historic shift in British politics. The anti-immigrant populist party's surge came largely at the expense of the two main parties, further eroding Britain's long-standing two-party system. Two more Iranian oil tankers accused of breaching the blockade came under fire by American forces, as United States President Donald Trump is expecting Tehran to respond to Washington's ceasefire proposal within the day. Jeremy Zhu reports.
U.S. F-18 jets struck the tankers in the Gulf of Oman, disabling their engines. The U.S. military said the vessels were heading for Iranian ports in defiance of the blockade. Together with Wednesday's interception, 3 tankers are now prevented from reaching Iran. In retaliation, Iran's Revolutionary Guard seized a Barbados-flagged tanker and detained its crew, accusing it of disrupting oil exports. Local media reported clashes with U.S. forces near the Strait of Hormuz. According to reports, the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency suggested Iran could withstand the blockade for 4 months without severe economic damage, limiting U.S. leverage. But some other intelligence officials countered, saying the blockade is crippling trade and accelerating economic collapse. Trump has not ruled out reviving Operation Project Freedom to clear stranded ships from the strait, while he expects Iran's reply to the ceasefire offer soon. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accused Washington of using military action to undermine diplomacy, vowing Tehran will not yield. Separately, the U.S. Treasury announced sanctions on 10 individuals and firms, including entities in Hong Kong and mainland, accused of aiding Iran's weapons and drone production. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Thousands of Palestinian and international runners returned to the West Bank city of Bethlehem for the Palestine International Marathon, marking the event's comeback after a 2-year hiatus caused by the Gaza war. Runners set off at dawn from Manger Square in Bethlehem for the 42-kilometer race. Participants wound their way through the streets of the biblical city and along routes that pass refugee camps and sections bordered by Israeli military checkpoints and the separation wall. In addition to the full marathon, the program also featured a half marathon, a 10-kilometer race, and a 5-kilometer family fun run. Organizers reported more than 13,000 participants overall, including around 1,000 international runners from 75 countries. The Bethlehem event was held in conjunction with a parallel race on a beachside road in central Gaza, the first such joint event in 5 years, linking Palestinians across divided territories. Apart from around 2,500 people running in the 5-kilometer race, about 15 disabled athletes, including war amputees, participated in a 2-kilometer event to demonstrate resilience and affirm the right to life. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy, 1 or 2 light rain patches tonight. Sunny intervals during the day tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 23 and 27 degrees. Moderate to fresh easterly winds, occasionally strong offshore at first. That's our news tonight. I'm Cheryl Yuen. Thanks for watching and good night.